SEO This Week. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of SEO This Week. We're going to be looking at some questions, couple tools you can use with Screaming Frog and Looker Studio, and a whole lot more. So let's get into it.
Did you know a press release alone isn't enough? Visibility is key. You need a multi-platform strategy to share your story across news, audio, video, and social media. Welcome to Magic PR, where your press release transforms into a powerful media experience, maximizing exposure and engagement. We distribute your release to top outlets like Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, Business Insider, and more. Plus, your release is SEO optimized, ensuring better search rankings. But we don't stop there. We turn your press release into a podcast, distributing it across 25 platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Then, we create a social media content for Facebook, X, and Instagram, and even transform your story into a video press release for YouTube and top media sites. Video drives over 80% of higher engagement, and short-form content is king. We make viral videos for your YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and more. At Magic PR, we don't just publish, we amplify. Get your press release seen, heard, and shared everywhere. Visit magicpr.com today and take your brand to the next level. Back to you, Clint.
Alrighty then. So, I'll warn you now, if I sneeze in your ear, it's not my fault. The allergies are kicking in. AC's blowing on me. Dust everywhere. I live in Yuma, and there's dust everywhere all the time, and it's got me. So if I sneeze in your ear, I apologize. I will try to hit the mute button on the microphone, but no promises. Okay, so with that, let's get going. This is 18 real-life analogies to explain SEO to anyone, and I actually like this a lot. Like, it's really simplistic. But I bet that anyone could probably take the title and put it into one of the AIs and come up with their own version of it that they like a lot better. Or you can just, use your brain. I know. Calm down, Clint. But that is an option. Use your brain and come up with some analogies to make explaining what SEO is to the novice a little bit easier. And Jasmine did, I think, a great job here. The foundation, HTML is the foundation, CSS is the design, JavaScript adds the functionality, and there's a whole lot more. There's obviously 15 more of them, and it's actually pretty entertaining and interesting read. So check this one out. I think this is definitely good, especially if you're giving proposals to people who have never been exposed to SEO before, or their chief exposure has been like, Search Engine Land or Search Engine Journal or one of those rags, or Lily Ray's Twitter or X feed. And they just don't understand the nuances that actually go into search engine optimization. And frankly, a lot of the stuff that's in this list is actually the basics, and the basics are lost quite often to the idea of, I want to have AI automation and I want to use AI and I'm going to be a no-code coder and do vibe coding with my AI and set it all up and to run my agency autonomously so I don't have to do anything and I can jerk off on my beach next to my fake Porsche that I rented at the Lamborghini store. So, yeah, I went on a tirade. Yep, I went on a tirade. So anyway, check out Jasmine's post. I think you'll really enjoy it. Next is a Looker Studio template. Is from Ivan Polly. I'm going to assume that's how you say his name. And it's a site checker add-on, essentially what it is. I didn't have to sign up to get it for free. You can see the links right here. And then here's the Looker Studio report. I like this a lot. I think really what I want to do is probably copy it and then remove the site checker branding. And then probably get rid of this too. Like if I was doing a lead gen thing, or you're on the LinkedIn's or the X's or whatever, and you're doing, hey, this is my studio, or this is my N8N diagram or whatever, then this is really cool for lead gen. Excuse me, but it's also Oh, geez, I didn't warn you about the burps. It's also cool for just looking at data analysis and maybe giving this to your clients, because organic social is a search engine, organic search is a search engine, and AI is a search engine. So all of this traffic you should generally be rewarded for, in particular the conversions, to make sure that your clients are getting a return on investment from the money that they're paying you, right? So you can show that to them here within the limits of their search console and or Google Analytics setup. In this case, it's analytics. But you can see there's sources. It says which landing pages it goes to, the countries that your traffic's coming from, the page segments, Liquor Studio, that kind of thing. So all you have to do, if you never mess with one of these, is hit copy and then you reassign it the sources. It looks to me like it's only going to use Google Analytics. So I think you're going to be pretty good to set that up with just that. So make a copy of it, and then you can, if you want to give this to your clients or you want to give it to your boss, delete this stuff. It's actually really easy once you make a copy of it, and you can probably delete this too, and then replace it with your own thing, and you're good to go. You have your own little Looker Studio dashboard. So I like to collect those different versions of them, etc., just to get ideas. I don't know all that much about Liquor Studio, but I know Everhart in Australia, he's a magician with the stupid thing. He makes me look bad with all the cool ideas and stuff that he does in there. And he only shares the, his failures with me. He doesn't give me his good stuff. All right. Next is G Squared Interactive, the scary surge and drop in indexing, and why that might be totally fine. If you don't know, or if you haven't looked at your search console lately, a lot of people are seeing this, and a lot of people are seeing this and this, et cetera, right? And it's a thing that is going on. I don't think anyone has been immune from it that I can tell, but it does appear to be the truth. Now, what a lot of people are surmising is that it's a update that's coming, is getting ready to pre-process. I've looked at it, and there's the real consistent thing that I've seen is they've allowed my pages on the sites that I work on to rank for X period of time. They're not ranking high all in all cases, so ergo they don't get very many backlinks and they don't get traffic. Specifically for the algorithm, we're talking about backlinks. And because they're not ranking very high, they're not getting clicks. So if you are in the nav boost camp where clicks equals interest, more interest equals higher rankings, then it's easy to see how those could start falling out of the search engine and fall out of the search results. Now, that is the party line. That's what's going on is, your content's been tested and it's not getting any interest, so we're just taking it out of the search engine and replacing it with content that's better. In theory, like a Reddit post is better. Come on, Google. But needless to say, that is going on, and it is there. So how do you combat it? One, if you are publishing, don't publish so much content you can't build backlinks for each and every one of those pages, because eventually, if you're in the camp of helpful content update, where the more bad pages you have, i.e. pages that get dropped out of the index because there's no interest in quality and they're not quality enough to stay in the algorithm, in theory, you could lose the whole ranking of not the whole ranking, but the site would be bad. And then the more you produce, the more bad it's getting. And then ultimately it's just kind of, you're pissing in the wind at that point. So be careful. Excuse me. Hate that when you got to sneeze, it's coming and you can't do anything about it. So with that, don't produce more content than you can actually promote. Like, For us, typically 4 to 8 articles per client is probably like our limit. 8 articles. We could, in theory, do more, but then when you get higher than that, you're in the I have to do automation link building stage, and then that can be risky for client websites, and you don't necessarily want to rely on that too much, right? So, it's just limit yourself a little bit to what you can promote. Promotion on the internet is link building. Link building is social media posts, press releases, guest posts, going to Haro and talking about your stuff, all that kind of stuff. That all applies as promotion, digital PR. If you are in the white hat game and renaming things. So keep an eye on it. It is true. Stuff is indexing. Here's another study, or de-indexing, sorry. Here's another study from Marie Hines on it. And it's, across the board that you're seeing pages that are removed, like older pages, and then some more examples from her website where you can see this is kind of evidence of testing and things just didn't work out. So those dropped out. And you can see that here in the currently not indexed. What I would do is when you're going through there, make sure that you're actually looking in the Google search results. Go to Google and drop your URL in there. And then if that's a page that's worth bringing back, like it had traffic at one point and it just stopped, or it just never got the attention and it needed to rank by your team, then you can, go in, update it, add some good schema to it, add some internal links to it, and then resubmit it. I will tell you that a lot of this is like for my site, that number is way skewed because a lot of it is the versions that Oxygen Builder makes for tablets, mobile versus desktop, and then the image files and stuff. It's all showing up in here, so it makes you really hunt for it. So it looks bad. Like, oh my God, you're losing. I got half of my website's de-indexed, so it's not actually the case. Most of the stuff that's in my reports here is stuff that I wouldn't want indexed anyway. Which it would be cool if Google made it so that you can just say, yep, it's not supposed to be, not supposed to be, not supposed to be, or do not report anymore. And then Google would actually be, I think it would be smart on their part because you can mark it in here, do not report, and then it could go into some tool or database or something like that to help you build maybe a better robots.txt to ignore all these URLs that you say that Google should ignore anyway. And help with your overall crawl functionality and probably save Google some money if it did that. But who am I? Can you track search engines in Search Console? This is an interesting one. It's really a play on search filters. So keep that in mind, but you can look for patterns in the way that the queries, and you see this long form query example here that shows up in the queries in the Search Console. You can see that, and you can filter through that based off of like those patterns. And then here's some ideas: the temporal research patterns, strategic business patterns, these kind of words and strings that the AI are using to pull content from your page or pull resources or search for information from your page. This is a really cool set. I personally did not go in and check it out in mine. I wanted to use the actual Looker Studio first to see if I was even got any traffic. And then I can worry about the Search Console later. So, but this is a good resource to keep. I would just bookmark this and use it, especially with these here, all these different word patterns and strings, because when we get into the tools section, in particular, Screaming Frog, you can use Regex in Screaming Frog to filter through some of this data that you pull straight out of Search Console. So, just food for thought. But yeah, do what I'm going to do and bookmark that, baby. Next, women in SEO, and this one is, hold on. This is the Regex I was telling you about. So you could take his Metehan's. I'm gonna assume the Metehan. I'm gonna assume the T is silent. You could take his search filters and put them in Regex and use them in things like your Screaming Frog or whatever, right? But she has a whole bunch of different Regex formulas in here, and they're really cool. If you don't play with Regex a lot, you're missing out on a few things. Don't worry though. It's also one of those kind of things that if you don't use it a lot, you're just not going to remember it a lot either. You're not going to be able to keep going over and over again. So, but there is books out there on how to learn how to do Regex and stuff. And once you use it a lot, then you actually get used to it, and it's pretty easy to knock out. But you can play with this stuff here. Let's see. Cognitive insights for local SEO. Pardon my French. The nuance endeavor. What the hell was this page? Familiarity. Oh, this is Jesus. The title is dumb, but the article is actually pretty good. And what it's talking about is increasing your localization. So I don't know if you're one of my followers, and you probably know every page for a city, every site that is like, if you're a plumber and you service 3 cities, you should have a page for each of those 3 cities. Those pages could essentially say the same thing. The only thing that is different is the localization of the page. And this article will help you get some better ideas on how to do that localization. The other thing is that localization also comes from pages that are linked to you, in particular on your website. So if you're doing like Phoenix SEO and you have a post about Phoenix restaurants that you did SEO clients in, Phoenix hotels that you did SEO conferences in, Phoenix rental cars companies that help you when you're talking or going to see those hotels and restaurants, Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport in Phoenix, and when you landed to get to the restaurants, hotels, and cars, right? So if those are also, I call them geo supporting pages, but that's all in line with what they're talking about here. They don't get that into the detail as what I just did and kind of breaking that out, but they do talk about some things like local behaviors and preferences, like specific foods, etc., that you can mention that other people are doing, local customs, local imagery. I like doing that a lot. Local national parks and that kind of stuff are really cool for that. Local markets, etc. And there's a whole bunch of different other ideas in here too. So don't necessarily think you got to put all that crap, and essentially that's what it is. You're just doing it to increase your localization, but you don't have to put it on your landing page. You can do what I said, geolocation pages, and the only way people are landing on them is if they find them in search, right? A search engine. That's the only way that they find them. And you'll often find that there's a lot of cases where if you do a really good job, those will land in search. You'll get traffic from them. And while that traffic doesn't convert, if they need your thing at some point in time, and they just recently came to your website and found one of your geo hubs, geo silo pages, then they remember your brand. So this is really brand recognition. You're building that up. And that's honestly the point of content marketing. A lot of content marketers are like, oh, you're there to educate. You're there to help them. And that's all true and cute and fine and dandy. But at the same time, you're getting your brand in their brain. It's like a Coke commercial. You don't see Coke commercials and landing pages and Facebook ads about Coca-Cola. It's TV, radio, that kind of stuff. They're in your face so that you remember Coca-Cola, 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 right? And there's no buy Coke now. There's, talking about drinking it and what are you getting from it, etc. So that's really where content marketing would help. And that's where this local SEO, in particular localization, would help too. So check it out just for some ideas for geo silo pages. htaccess redirect. It's kind of a pain in the butt writing these and getting these correct, and even with AI these days. So there is a simple spreadsheet to automatically generate some rules, and then a cheat sheet with different symbols and stuff like that. They're all in this post. I think it's really cool of them to give this out. That SEMrush owns this website, Backlinko, now, but you can figure out how to get to your htaccess, how to edit it. It's pretty detailed, and then some of the rewrite rules you can do on it. Make sure you test the stupid thing before you just walk away and leave it, because you could screw up a lot if you do something wrong with this thing. Save your working one before you apply changes to the new one, that kind of stuff. But this is really cool to hang out with and test. Oh, get a test site too. You can test your htaccess. You put it on the same server as your money sites, like I do, and then you can test it and push buttons and see what breaks and what works and what does cool stuff and what doesn't, and that kind of thing. Marketing to machines, brand competing for AI recommendations. And that's really a lot of what's going on right now, is getting your brand and the signals so that they know what you are, where you're about, and etc. There's a couple tools that we've been over before, Wayk and Dejan's tool, that are both designed to help you, kind of stick through and get into it. See what the algorithms think about your website. For example, I'll just open up. I know I saved it. See if it's in here. If I can find it real quick. Hold on. AI. No. I'll have to find it. I'll find it some other time. Anyway, it's Dejan's tool, and it'll tell you what the AI models think of your website. Like Digital Ear is SEO, web design, that kind of stuff. And then other brands are different, and X brand's more competitive than I am, and a lot of these sources, etc. And so that's kind of what you want to mess around with it a little bit and make sure that you're getting seen for the right topics. Wayk is cool for that too. Once I figure out how to apply the information that it gives me, then I'll share that tool with you guys. But you can check that out. And in the meantime, check out Wordless blog. This is a good group of people, and they're, I think, probably one of the first people with a SaaS talking about entities and that kind of stuff. And if you were following along with that and you were on that thing, then you have a pretty good chance of being ahead of the curve with AI already. So OnCrawl.com. I don't know about you, but I've used OnCrawl, the tool, before. It's expensive as fuck. I don't think it's changed, but it's keyword clustering using Python and SERP API. I use SERP API for other things, and I use Python for other things. So why not do the keyword clustering thing? You can save yourself a little bit of money. Here's the steps of how to do it. Register your AIP, blah, blah, blah. Run the script. It created a script for you. You could play around with it if it's not doing exactly what you want, and give the script to Claude Code or ChatGPT, and add functions to it or remove functions from it, etc. And then get your topical maps kind of just built right for you. So I think that's cool, especially if you have tools that are giving you like bulk keyword data, and then you can cluster them and essentially make your silos. There's a tool inside of ZimWriter that does the same thing, but it actually goes out and finds the keywords and creates titles for it, and it associates and blah blah. It's pretty interesting. But this one's a really cool tool, especially if you like playing with Python stuff and getting out of the tool reliant space. Here you're only paying for SERP API, maybe a PyCharm. I use PyCharm, the PyCharm subscription, and then you're off to the races. Emesis, rendering. There's how does Google render your website? What does it see, et cetera, et cetera? If you've always wanted to ask those questions, this is kind of here. There's some generalizations like how browsers work, key components of the browser, et cetera, et cetera. If you really want to learn all that stuff and learn why JavaScript works versus when it doesn't, et cetera, et cetera, and some of that stuff in here. But if you get down in the nitty gritty, just like how's this all relate to what Googlebot sees with your website, because it's using Chrome to render your website in theory. So knowing this and knowing how that all works will allow you to look at your search console, view rendered page, look at Screaming Frog or SiteBulb and the rendered page and see the differences and things you have to fix. In particular, because it's mobile first indexing, the mobile bot, the smartphone bot crawls a website first and then desktop comes back later. So you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward. So you look at mobile version, make sure it's rendering properly, and then you can make the necessary changes to catch that off in the head. If you're using a tool like Oxygen, like I do, for example, that's really important to know and how to understand that, because of the way Oxygen lets you optimize. I can essentially make one URL and put 3 different versions of the same page by changing the what is showing in particular for a tablet versus a mobile versus desktop. It's not, I can't make a whole complete page with different content on it, but I can turn functions off, increase sizes of this, that, remove blocks and don't want them to show on mobile, that kind of stuff. So it's really important to understand render specifically, just kind of, you don't have to understand all the techo stuff behind it, but just know what it's doing so that when you look at it, you can make intelligent business decisions for your website and for your or your clients or your boss. I wanted to share this because I am getting more into PPC stuff. I don't know that I'll be sharing a lot of that on this channel, but there are some cool things that are back that I think are neat. And this is the YouTube stuff, and you can get into more control of it. What I like is the old Google Display Network, and I can pop into that with YouTube ads. There's Gmail, Discover. I don't know necessarily how to use it a little bit, but there is a lot of opportunity, especially in YouTube advertising, I think, for businesses that is untapped for what I'm doing with it. So I thought I'd share this with you guys just because it caught my interest. And this is just some new YouTube ads and some things that are going along to help you make it work a whole lot better and reduce your costs. So I would check that out for sure, because video, if you haven't noticed, is getting a lot more search traffic these days. And there is evidence that a lot of people are shifting over to sites like TikTok, etc. YouTube being one of those, and that's where they're doing their searching now. And just kind of save themselves some of the BS, right? They can go through a 33-minute or whatever length video and get that information versus fighting with Google and let's show them a Reddit and then an Amazon and then a Medium post and not really answer their question. And then we'll show them this half-hearted AI overview and say how cool it is. And yes, people are getting tired of it. So get into this and get into YouTube advertising, get into YouTubes, get into the TikToks, TikToks, and learn more about this stuff, especially if you are running a small business, because you want to be everywhere that your customers are, right? And YouTube advertising allow you to knock that out all in one go. AI mode made simple. This is just another rundown of the AI mode and what this guy Dorid sees with it, and what it's doing to search potentially, and how it works, etc. I talked last week about how you take these kind of posts and turn them into prompts to write content for them. So you just take this whole section of how AI mode works simplified, and then say, hey, you're a prompt engineer. I want to make a prompt that does this for me, and drop it in there and see what you get. And then you're off to the races. You can start working. And this kind of how to double down on this content. Again, it's from WordLift, so it's really good. And that's why I think it works with that whole prompt engineering idea. So check it out. There's a couple different things inside of here that will make good prompts, that could potentially make good content with a little bit of tweaking. New KPIs. This is the standard list. I think average position. I actually put rank tracking, not your average position. A lot of this stuff looks to me like it's coming out of Search Console. And if you're giving an SEO dashboard based off of Search Console information, which we've seen in the last couple of weeks is complete trash, then you're an idiot. But that's either here or there. Here's those new KPIs: chunk frequency retrieval, AI citation count, vector image, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I think this is all a little bit super nerd for as a KPI, key performance indicator, outside of your SEO group. Like, you're not going to give this stuff to a C-suite person, and they're not going to know what it is, and they're going to look at you and talk about replacing you pretty damn quick if you're just kind of super nerding them with this stuff. It's got to mean something, especially if you're going to use it as a KPI. Small business, large business, your own business, or somebody else's business. It's got, how do this number support the overall business objectives? And that's kind of, I don't see it in these KPIs. Okay. That being said, that doesn't mean it's not there. I'm just saying that I don't see it. So you can look through this, and here's this list of tools on how to create these supposed KPIs, like LLM answer coverage. I'd probably go Wakely, not Anthropic. Attribution rate, I'd go Wakely, not that. Citation count, U.com is a search engine, so right, unless that's changed. AI, enterprise AI platform. I don't know what this is. That's interesting. But there's a lot of tools there that I'd be like, I don't get it. Like, what are you going for here? So again, these would probably be all in section, i.e. being in your SEO team, kind of key performance indicators, and then you'd have to figure out how to translate that information into indicators that a C-suite or a decision maker would do, and I bet you $100 it ends up right back in here. So just be careful when you're playing with new and fancy things. Did I save that URL? Nope. Make sure I save that URL so I can give it to you in the description down below. And while we're doing that, remember to hit like and subscribe. This helps support the channel. All right. What every high converting landing page has. 6 examples. There is a function inside of Claude. If you haven't played with it in a while, you can ask it to make landing pages. And I want to give it, I have a bunch of these wireframes, like different ways to make landing pages. Everyone all has their own idea of what the ultimate landing page looks like. This one's kind of weak, but I think it'll support I think Claude will be okay with it. So essentially, I want to give it this image, but I want to, and I don't think it's going to be able to read that wireframe, but maybe I can create a wireframe with something else. Like, I have a tool on my laptop that lets me do wireframes. I can recreate this in that and then maybe get Claude to read it and say, here's the wireframe for the image, or for my landing page, here's the diagram of what I want in each section. So that's the stuff here on the left. And then see if it actually create a decent landing page for me. I think it'd be really cool. And if you can do that, there's some link building opportunities there, and I'll go over that sooner once I figure it out. All right, so that's that post, and that's why this is here, this crazy egg search, just essentially so you can check out that diagram. This is Google queries, site colon, all those kind of things. These are 674 of them that Google is using. I thought it was really interesting. I thought this was really cool. So let's go here, right? And then we'll Google, and then UTM source equals, and then let's go GMB. Let's see if we get anything. Get anything. UTM source. Let's see if I remove the space. Let's see if I add this. Lame. That one's not doing anything. Let's see. Let's go email. How to use email parameters, codes. Yeah, see, this one's kind of a dud. Boo. But you can see there's 674 potential opportunities for you. A lot of these say unknown, so you got to, just play with it and see what it does if you want to try it out. I guess it's cool. I guess. It was cool enough to share with you guys. I found it, so what the hell? And let me leave again, I'll leave the link down in the description. Google sucks, and the reason why organic is dropping across the board. This is not your typical post, and I actually like it. You guys notice I haven't been sharing a whole lot of end of the world and AI is killing your job kind of thing. This is adding a little bit of perspective that is not just AI. It's consumer fear, inflation, job insecurity, sluggish economy are all reducing the amount of people that are searching for things to buy. And that's why your conversions maybe are even way more important now than ever. So this is a good perspective, complete perspective. Does it cover AI? Yes. Does it have, in regards to its impact on your traffic and your conversions? Yes. But it also opens your eyes into the other things that are going on, so you don't have to completely go, oh, it's just the SEO guy. If you're an SEO guy, enterprise, or in a corporate environment, get this to your C-suite now. Or write a version of it and update it for your industry and explain, as an explainer of, look, it's not just Google. This is a status of search, and here's the factors that are affecting it. It's that way you're not always trying to fight, oh, my indexing's dropped out if they're looking at your indexing. You're not always trying to fight those kind of fights, right? You have this and be like, look, this is the status of it right now. You could probably take this article and go, I like this article. I like what it says about AI and the effects on search, etc. I'd like you to take this article and then recreate it, but applying the information specifically to our market sector. You could probably do that in Madness and let it go to town, or turn it on a deep research inside of one of the tools and let it go to town and pull that together for you. I've done one of those for one of my clients. We did press releases and everything, and it was actually pretty good for us. So this is a good example of that. And I recommend that you get on this right now. It's also a good marketing tool. So you can, when you're doing your sales stuff. JSON's JavaScript inside a Screaming Frog. This is a tool thing. I like to share some tool ideas, and Screaming Frog has been putting out a lot of cool features, etc., that you can do. So what this guy did, his name is Ziggy, and I haven't seen this post in a while, but it came out in February, and I guess it was kind of hidden into the world. But this is a JavaScript and the whole process, and he's giving you all the code to actually find items in your websites via this to create JSON-LD. So, use case, you run an e-com store and you got 5,000 products. You have a standard place for your titles, descriptions, reviews, all that kind of stuff. And it's standard across all your product pages. You can use this JavaScript method in Screaming Frog to make the base template for your schema. Is it going to be 100%? No. But you can make a base template and throw it up across your thing, because something is better than nothing, right? And then throw it up across your website. Your products, as they're doing good, you can and you can see they're up and coming. You can go and do your add to that template, because it's pretty well written. That template, and increase it and make it advanced, and just kind of rinse repeat. So you have written 5,000 pages of schema, for lack of a better description, using JavaScript and Screaming Frog and your template, your base template. And then you can continue like that. Like the web page or website schemas like that I have, you can use those for your base template. The only thing you're going to be missing really is the about and mentions, and probably the keyword stuff. Unless you have, you're using keyword tags, then you can actually, if you're using keyword meta tags, you can actually use those as a selector in the JavaScript to fill out the keyword section, for example. But you will be missing about and mentions and all that. But if that's all you're missing, and you have the rest of that stuff is pulled programmatically using JavaScript and Screaming Frog, you reduce the workload, and you can pull out better or more advanced schema using the templates that I gave you in those 2 previous posts on digitalear.com. Go check those out. Alrighty, so let me drop this in our saved list. Here is just some more ideas on what to do with that JavaScript snippet inside of there. And this is his presentation on it. You can click through here. I don't necessarily like sharing presentations, because you don't get to hear the speaker talk and what's the context of this slide or whatever. But you can see a little bit in here and some ideas that you can probably do, and where to find said functionality and that kind of thing. And here's some use cases that I think are pretty interesting. And although you don't get the JavaScript in this section, then there's nothing that says you can't take this and go into Claude Code or whatever and write this stuff. Right. So check that out as well. Let me get rid of the parameters on this, and I'll save it. There we go. How data journalism can future-proof your content. So I gave you a data journalism method where you can go and find out, how the economy is affecting your market and create a post about that. And that's actually data journalism. You can do that with infographics. You can do that with Manus. Really cool. Again, I did it with Manus, and it came out really interesting. You can send it especially if you can get the infographic stuff knocked down, if you have a really cool designer that can take that data and turn it into a cool infographic, you can play with those really good, and you can get the attention of kind of these sites like this, right? Legitimately, not pay $5,000 for your Forbes link. You can actually reach out to these people and create this. There is a bunch of people, I think Ferry is one of them, that is doing this, and they do it for link building. Downside is you can make 100 of these and only one of them is going to kick off. Plus side is you have unique content talking about a lot of the same things, but it's coming from a data perspective, and you have data supported, so your content is a lot better, and you can generate some more backlinks in other ways, right? So check this out. I would read this, save it, and then go read. Trust me, I'm lying, and then come back and read this again and put those two together. There's a recommendation for you. Does email length matter? I do a lot of cold email stuff, playing with it. I have smart leads or something like that. And get a lot of email lists and data lists. You can get them off of X these days. People are giving them away from their Amelia accounts or whatever. And I like doing cold email and just kind of learning about it and playing and winning the click-through rate and winning the open rate. I got to go back and save this. Hold on. Winning the open email rate, etc. So this data kind of goes along with that. If you've never done email marketing, deliverability is probably the number one drama you're going to have to deal with. I have Drip as an autoresponder. But I think my deliverability in my cold email system is way better than Drip. Those are all unique emails. But this is some testing information, and less than 300 words. People seem to like it. The open rate's by 18%. I think that's kind of true. Like if I know I'm getting ready to read a Bible, I'm not going to read that damn thing, and I'll probably put a flag on it if I don't just delete it. Like this guy's always sending me this long rambling, blah, blah, blah. My dog ate my bones, and then I had to go change a tire on my car, and my Tesla battery died, but buy my course. So if you have some information, you can, and a little bit better, slim it down, make it easier. I like this one too. How often do you respond to PR pros when they pitch you stories? Seldom. That's pretty interesting. Why is it interesting, you ask? Today's modern marketers are like, don't talk about your product. Tell stories and how people used it. Case studies, right? Tell stories. And people are not responding to that in email. So don't go in there and tell damn stories. Stop telling stories. Stop telling stories, right? Hey, I want you to buy my shit. Be upfront. Do it quickly, and then they'll actually open and read it. It's the same if you're doing cold email for link building. Don't go in there and, I went to your website and there's this post, and your post was awesome, and here's all this stuff you found, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, you want to give me a link because I added this thing and I think it's better. And by that time, I've already deleted your cold emails. Don't even do that. Like my cold email, when I'm doing cold email for backlinking, I'm like, hey, I'm Clint Butler. I know you get 101 of these stupid emails every day begging for a backlink, but like everyone else, I think my stuff is awesome. The only difference is I'm right. I am awesome, and so are you. That's why you're going to give me a backlink. That would be my to this page, right? That's my cold email. And it actually works. I can send 200 of those out and I'll get like 10 free backlinks. Just doing that. That kind of take on emails. Be different. Stand out. Be personal. Be authentic. Like you guys can all see me on the book face, and you see me on YouTube. Some of you met me at conferences. I'm pretty much the same at all of those approaches, right? You can tell when I'm using some AI for stuff. Like I'm just, I don't feel like being sociable today. And I'll use AI to make me a Facebook post during the day or whatever. But for the most part, authentic personalization beats generic flattery is true. 100% true. So, don't, if you're selling SEO, it came to your website and we did an audit and we think we can give you these 10 ways to be better. No, don't do that shit. Hey, I went to your website. Here's 5 things that I saw that sucked and we can fix them. If you would like some more information, reach out. If not, go fix the things that sucked, and we'll keep an eye out and come back in 3 months and tell you why you have 5 more things that sucked, right? so you can, be different. Be different. I don't know how to say that any better. Be different. I wish I knew Spanish and I could tell you guys in Spanish to be different. Maybe next time. All right, you save that there. All right, next. This is the last story, by the way. View transitions plugin. It's a new plugin from the WordPress crew. I have no effing idea, like physically what it does, but the non-techie version is essentially it allows you, like if you use the same head and etc., it kind of finds all that stuff in advance so that when you're moving from page to page on your website, you get to see less transition. Like if I moved from page to page on the site, assuming that he's got it on, it would transition less and it would all be almost seamless. That's the idea. Now, this thing is in beta. You got to play with some selectors, etc. Main header selector, main selector, your post thumbnails. You can identify all that stuff. And then hit save changes and see what it does. But this is an experimental plugin, so be very careful. I would test it on your websites first before you follow. Just set and forget. Might not necessarily work. Supposedly it works with all the browsers and all the themes and all that stuff. I use Oxygen and those kind of builders that override themes. I don't use themes, so I anticipate that I will have to go through and find these selectors in Oxygen in my source code for after I install it to make sure that those are set properly. You may have to do that, but if you're just using like a theme, like that horrible Avada theme, then maybe that stuff's already there and make this a little bit easier for you. But if you're a speed freak, in particular in the search of higher conversions, then this may be something that you want to check out. Question time. All right, so I didn't see a whole lot of questions. I really didn't. And I think we've answered some of these before, so we're going to fly through the Reddit stuff real fast, okay? So do you want to buy a whatever nearme.com domain? Google caught on to that trick like effing fast, so save your money. Hold on, let me save this stupid thing. So save your money and don't do that. The only thing that I would say is if you're going to do that is maybe you're going to do a directory and the directory is kind of like churn and burn, then give it a try. If it works, it works. If it don't be surprised. Let's put it that way, because they caught on. There was this whole trend where people were buying those left and right and throwing them up, and then Google's like, we're just going to enhance proximity on our website, and you clowns can go piss off. I think there's some value in it in small, non-competitive markets that are underserved by something, but I would not think that that's something special. Like it's not going to get you anything more. You're not going to rank for more near me terms because you have a .near me domain. Just Google caught on to that quick. LLMs. We talked about those. I use the Rank Math plugin to generate mine on digitalear.com. The only reason I even put it on was because Brian Whittam did a presentation where he's adding stuff to his, and I wanted to figure out how to do it. A lot of these plugins, etc., if you add to the LLM text, inevitably you should be, if you're adding to your website, you would add to the LLM text and it would overwrite the existing stuff. He suggested building a plugin that does it on its own so you can add stuff to it. but it would also regenerate. I think he made one, but he never gave it out to anybody. So if you want to play with this some more, you can do it yourself. At the end of the day, a third party that's not related to the AI systems and large language model development said, hey, let's use this thing to tell everyone what our websites are about. And like 0.8% of people are actually using it. So I would say that having it on there and testing something like what Brian Whittam is teaching, good. Having it on there thinking you're going to get into the AI LLM data sets, not so much. FAQ schema. This one, if your FAQ page, remember FAQ schema is only good for FAQ pages and is actually essentially they've already successfully ripped off all of your content and they're using AI now anyway. So it's like cool to have, but you're not going to get much value out of it kind of thing. Right. So especially if you're doing it on a per page basis, you can just better off just making an FAQ page. You could put 5 questions on there or 500, and you could put all of those questions that are on that FAQ page and their answers inside of your FAQ schema. There's no limit to how many you can do. That's the basic crux of this question. Is there a limit to how many you can put in your FAQ? If I have 20 pages, 20 plus questions on it, you put 20 plus questions and 20 plus answers. It's easy as that. All right, let's get to you guys. This is the folks that went to digitalleader.com. Like I said, I get your comments. I'm still working on the comment visibility thing. I think when we built digitalleader.com on Oxygen, we broke their commenting system. So they had to write a custom code to add into my template to fix it. And I just haven't applied it yet. But no, if you have questions, come to the website, you can ask them here as well. This one is a long-winded question to basically say, if I want to use description, disambiguated description, headline, alternative headline, etc. over again, can I do that? Yes, you can. There's a website description. There's a website disambiguated description. There's a website headline. There's a website alternative headline. There's a web page. There's a video, audio. All of these apply to that. You can use them over and over again, but keywords, keyword variations, LSI phrases, entities. No, you don't want to get too crazy with that. You don't need to use those over and over again. It doesn't make any sense. Use them in their right place at the right time. As I said before, Google does not use schema to rank you for things that aren't on the page, and you just put them in your schema and you think you're going to rank for them. That's not how schema works. It's this saying, this page is about this thing. It mentions these things. And here's why. Here's the reinforcements to make sure that Google understands, in particular about mentions using machine IDs from the knowledge graph, understands what your web page is about. It does not go like, I can't put keywords in my keywords list and rank for those keywords. It doesn't fucking work like that. I don't know how much clearer to make it. You're using schema to tell the algorithm what the page is about and what it talks about. And then it'll rank you for the proper place because you've done that, because you're very clear on that. This one, you say you only have the website schema on the homepage. That's right. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to put it in, yes, a homepage is a web page. So you can tell me to fuck off and you can do it if you want to. But your website schema, your homepage is your business card, right? Generally, it's everything about who you are, where you are, and what you do, and where you do it, right? So think Mike Merlino, who you are, where you do it. Right. And that's what your website, your homepage is. That's your business card. You're handing out. What do? I'm an SEO. Here's my digitalleader.com. That's my website. Right. And then your web pages are the more supplemental information about it, about your business. So this is my landing page for SEO services. This is my landing page for web design. This is my landing page for schema writing, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I only put the website schema on the homepage. This is the domain that it represents this company that provides these services, and here's the pages for those services, and it provides these services at these locations. Here's the URLs to the location pages, and I plug all that into the homepage, and that's the only schema that goes on the homepage. There's no FAQ, there's no website, there's no article. It's website schema. So that's my thinking of it. Now, yes, a homepage is a web page. Yes, you are correct. But that's my thinking behind it. Is your homepage, is your business card, and the rest of that stuff is your information talking about the different aspects of your business. Ergo, some web pages. This domain, digitalleader.com, represents an entire website. This web page only represents this web page. So that's why I do it that way. Is it right? Is it wrong? Who knows? But it's the way I do it. Breadcrumb schema. I will look at this one. I've been meaning to do the damn thing forever, Israel. So don't think I forgot about you. I am going to add that to the breadcrumb schema page. As a matter of fact, I will write it down as a to-do that I can ignore for the next month. Breadcrumbs for Israel. There you go. Done. It's in the book. It's in the notebook, Israel. So I will do it. I swear. Swear to God. And that's all the comments. So do that. And let's see, we have some questions inside of the YouTubers that I had to get to. Thank you very much for your generosity and share a bit of your vast knowledge. You are welcome. You convinced me to take the course. Good. That said, I want to ask you if provide a single page template for schema projects. That's the web page schema. There is a template right there. Now, if you're asking me if I will write one for you for your website, yes, but in the words of Jerry Maguire, show me the money. And I'm not going to scream it. Just not going to happen. So let's go here. Answered on this week's show. Control A, Control C, reply. Thumbs up. How about the case of rest of page data products for given categories? A good idea to have the item list dynamically populated with products page. And this is talking about a short I did in regards to what schema you should have on a category page. And if you know JavaScript and you can do that, and you have a template that you just made with Screaming Frog, for example, that is an excellent idea. You would have to get your coder to play around with that and make sure that it is working properly. But yeah, if you go to page 2 and you get a new list, then why not throw a new schema on it? It makes it all that more the gooder. So I would definitely look into that for sure. Any other cool Python tools we missed? We added one today. You said their schema doesn't help with ranking, but they're for the keyword at Fountain Hills SEO. You rank the blood page with nothing but schema. What I said, and I'll repeat it again. We went over this already in the show, but what I said was you can't put things in there that are not in the content and think you're going to rank for them. So if I do a complete article on breadcrumb schema, and then I put breadcrumb schema for SEO, breadcrumb schema for higher rankings, breadcrumb schema for improved nipple tweakage, I am not going to rank for those things because it's in my schema. I'm going to rank for my schema. It helps me rank because it says everything related to this page is about breadcrumb schema. It talks about breadcrumb schema. It mentions breadcrumb schema. It mentions schema.org. It mentions how to write breadcrumb schema. Those are the things that are all in the page, and it's supporting what's in the page. It again, how do you be more clear? That's if I sound frustrated with that answer, it's because I have gotten it a lot. Like you can't, and there's people implying that, oh, if you have disambiguated descriptions and it's really on point, you're going to rank for that thing. Fucking false. It doesn't work that way. And I tested it. I wrote all these schemas out and tested putting fake keywords in, putting real words in, totally unrelated to the content. It does not work. You can't stuff your schema and rank higher. You got to be on point, and it's got to say what this page is about. What is it? What's it about? And what's in it for me? And that's why the Fountain Hills SEO page works. No logo organization schema for the homepage, only in website schema. That doesn't make any sense because only in website schema is the only schema that I put on the homepage. And then the website schema has local or organizational schema, ergo the homepage has a schema. So I told him to go back and look at the template again. Let's see. I think that's it. No, here's one. In regards to the page with redirects for a homepage question, I had someone bring up this error. Site is built in Wix, and they don't allow the ability to change the htaccess. All the URLs work. One is indexed. Ignore the error since we have htaccess. I'm assuming this is correct. I would assume that you want to get off of Wix really, really fast. So I'm pretty sure Wix has stepped up their game. So you need to call them or email them and get with their support and tell them to fix that. Their SEO team should fix that. Being canonical is not good enough. Those versions have to redirect to the one working version. Because the problem is, and I've seen this even with SEOs, like they'll accidentally share one of those versions out on social media, for example. There's a company, Green Lane, they just did this. Theirs is even worse. They were sharing out the staging version from their WP engine, and that worked. Like that URL worked. It was set to no index, but they were sharing it out. And Google can and will ignore no index if it gets backlinks in social media. Guess what? Those are backlinks. So there could be a problem here. So you want to get with Wix and make sure that they fix that. There should be one default version only working. That's it. That's the only one that should be working. Let me go through here and hit the thumbs up because I use this to keep track at the same time. All right, where are we? And that's the last one. So got through all of those questions. I do owe Israel a breadcrumb schema, and I think we're all caught up. And with that, this has been SEO.